The loan application on my desk made me smile. Applicant: Robert and Diana Foster. Requested amount: $50,000. Purpose: home renovation. My parents' familiar signatures graced the bottom, right below the bank's letterhead. My bank's letterhead. Miss Foster. My assistant Sarah appeared in the doorway. Your brother's here again. Third time this week. I leaned back in my chair, remembering the day 5 years ago when they called me into the family living room. We've decided to give your trust fund to Andrew, Mom had announced. He needs it for his startup and well, you're just working at a bank. He deserves it more. That just working at a bank job had been my first step in acquiring First Regional Trust, the bank my family had used for generations. Now, as owner and CEO, I reviewed every major loan application personally, including the increasingly desperate ones from my own family. Send him in, I told Sarah, straightening my Armani blazer. Andrew stormed into my office, his designer clothes wrinkled, his usually perfectly styled hair a mess. They're going to decline my loan application again, aren't they? Good morning to you too, I replied calmly. Please have a seat. Cut the corporate BS, Sophia. You know why I'm here. He slumped into one of my visitor chairs. That trust fund money is gone and I need capital for my new venture. Gone was an understatement. He'd blown through my $2 million trust fund in less than 2 years, chasing one failed business idea after another. Meanwhile, I'd been quietly building my own empire, using my position at the bank to learn everything about finance and acquisitions. Your loan application was declined because you're a high-risk borrower, I explained professionally. Your credit score is abysmal, you have no viable business plan, and your previous ventures have all failed spectacularly. I'm your brother. This is a bank, not a family charity. He leaned forward, desperation creeping into his voice. Mom and Dad are counting on this new business. After what happened with their retirement accounts. Yes, their retirement accounts. The ones they'd emptied to fund Andrew's last failed venture, never suspecting that their successful son would lose everything again. Speaking of Mom and Dad, I pulled out their loan application. They've requested $50,000 for home renovations. Interesting timing. Andrew's face flushed. They need to fix up the house to use as collateral for my business loan. You mean they're trying to bail you out? Again. I set the paper aside. Just like they did with my trust fund. You were just a junior loan officer, he exploded. I was starting a tech company. They made the right choice. I smiled, remembering how none of them had bothered to ask about my career progress over the years. They'd been too busy praising Andrew's entrepreneurial spirit, while he burned through money faster than he could lose it. Did they tell you I bought First Regional Trust 6 months ago? The color drained from his face. What? The merger was kept quiet. New ownership through a private holding company. I gestured to the nameplate on my desk. My holding company. That's impossible. You couldn't afford. Actually, I could. That junior loan officer position taught me everything I needed to know about banking, finance, and acquisitions. While you were blowing through my trust fund, I was building something real. He slumped further into the chair. So you're deliberately blocking our loans. This is revenge. This is business, I corrected him. Something you never actually learned despite all that money they gave you. My money. My phone buzzed, a text from Mom. Darling, please check on our loan application. It's urgent. Your father's meeting with Andrew's investors tomorrow. I showed Andrew the message. More investors? Really? They're legitimate, he muttered, but wouldn't meet my eyes. Like the legitimate investors from your crypto venture? Or the legitimate investors from your NFT marketplace? I pulled up his file on my computer. The ones who disappeared with what was left of my trust fund? That wasn't my fault. The market. Save it. I held up my hand. I've heard all your excuses before. Usually when you're begging the bank for more money. He stood up, running his hands through his disheveled hair. What do you want, Sophia? An apology? Fine, I'm sorry we took your trust fund. But this is different. Mom and Dad need this loan. Need it for what? To fund another one of your schemes? To throw more good money after bad? I have a real opportunity this time. Like the real opportunity that cost them their retirement savings? I smiled coldly. The ones they now keep at my bank, by the way. All those accounts you don't want them to know about? I see every transaction. The blood drained from his face. You wouldn't. Tell them about the offshore accounts. The secret credit cards. The money you've been hiding from your own startup's books. I leaned back in my chair. You're right. I wouldn't. That would be unprofessional. Andrew sank back into the chair, deflated. What are you going to do? I picked up our parents' loan application again. I'm going to handle this exactly as any bank CEO would. by reviewing the application on its merits. They'll lose the house, he whispered. Perhaps they should have thought of that before giving away my trust fund to someone who couldn't tell a business plan from a lottery ticket. My phone buzzed again, another message from Mom. Andrew says you're being difficult about the loan. Remember, we're family. Family. The same family that had dismissed my career choices, mocked my basic banking job and given away my inheritance without a second thought. I looked at my brother, seeing not the confident entrepreneur our parents had praised endlessly, but a desperate man who'd never faced real consequences. The loan committee meets tomorrow, I said finally. I'll have an answer for them then. As he stood to leave, shoulders slumped in defeat, I called after him. Oh, and Andrew? You might want to warn them about the audit our compliance department is launching. Seems there are some irregularities in their accounts that need explaining. The next morning, I sat in the bank's main conference room, watching my parents fidget in their seats across the massive oak table. They'd dressed up for this meeting. Dad in his old power suit, Mom wearing the pearl necklace she saved for important occasions. They still hadn't realized who they were really meeting. The bank's owner will be joining us shortly, Sarah informed them. She personally reviews all significant loan applications. This is ridiculous, Dad muttered. We've been customers here for 30 years. Back when Richard owned the bank, we never had to jump through these hoops. I smiled, thinking of how easily I'd bought the bank from Richard. He'd been so eager to retire, he'd practically given me a discount. Speaking of the new owner, Mom straightened in her chair as the door opened. We'd love to discuss. She froze mid-sentence as I walked in. Dad's mouth fell open. Even after Andrew's warning, they clearly hadn't believed it. Hello, Mom, Dad, I said calmly, taking my seat at the head of the table. Let's discuss your loan application. Sophia. Mom's voice was barely a whisper. You own the bank? For the past 6 months. I opened their file. Though I'm surprised Andrew didn't tell you. He was just in my office yesterday begging for another chance. Dad found his voice. This is why our loans keep getting declined? Some sort of revenge. No, your loans keep getting declined because you're terrible credit risks. I pulled out their financial records. You've depleted your retirement accounts, maxed out your credit cards and taken out 3-second mortgages, all to fund Andrew's failed ventures. He just needs one more chance, Mom pleaded. This new opportunity is just like all his other opportunities. I cut her off. Did he tell you where my trust fund really went? Would you like to see the transaction records? I projected their account history onto the wall screen. Years of withdrawals, each one larger than the last, all flowing into Andrew's various schemes. The crypto investment that lost $500,000? The NFT marketplace that disappeared overnight? The tech startup that never had a single line of code. I clicked through each failed venture. All funded with my money. Money you gave away because he deserved it more. Dad's face had gone pale. We thought he showed us projections. Projections. I laughed. Would you like to see his real books? The ones he doesn't show you? The offshore accounts. The hidden credit cards. You're lying, Mom said, but her voice trembled. Andrew would never. I pressed another button. Bank statements appeared on screen, showing Andrew's secret accounts, his lavish spending, his desperate attempts to cover his losses. Your golden child has been lying to you for years, I said quietly. And you've been so busy believing in him, you never bothered to check the facts. Just like you never bothered to ask how your basic bank employee daughter could afford a penthouse apartment or why she kept getting promoted. Why didn't you tell us? Dad asked. Would you have believed me? Or would you have dismissed it like you dismissed everything else I've achieved? Mom reached across the table. Darling, we can explain. No need. I held up their loan application. This meeting is about your request for $50,000. A loan that, according to your application, is for home renovations. They shifted uncomfortably. Interesting that you didn't mention these renovations are actually to increase your home's value so you can take out another mortgage. For Andrew's new venture. I tossed the application aside. Did he tell you this one involves cryptocurrency again? It's different this time, Dad insisted. He has real investors. No, he doesn't. I pulled up more documents. He has more lies, more schemes, and more plans to waste your money. And mine if he could get it. Please, Mom's voice cracked. We'll lose the house. Like I lost my trust fund? I stood up, walking to the window. The trust fund Grandma left specifically for my education and future? The one you gave away without even asking me. Silence filled the room. Finally, Dad spoke. What are you going to do? I turned back to face them. As your bank's owner, I'm declining your loan application. As your daughter, I'm freezing all your accounts pending a full audit. Our compliance department has flagged several suspicious transactions that need investigation. You can't do this. Dad stood up. We're your parents. And this is my bank. I sat back down, perfectly calm. You taught me an important lesson when you gave away my trust fund. Family and business don't mix. I'm simply following your example. We'll go to another bank, Mom threatened weakly. With your credit history, your depleted accounts, your multiple mortgages. I smiled. Good luck. Oh, and you might want to check your mail. The audit notice went out this morning. What audit notice? Dad's voice shook. The one explaining that due to suspicious activity, all your accounts are being reviewed, including the transfers to Andrew's businesses. The IRS is particularly interested in some of those offshore transactions. Mom started to cry. Dad slumped in his chair, looking suddenly old. You have 24 hours to provide documentation for every major transaction from the past 5 years, I continued professionally, including what happened to my trust fund. I suggest you start with that. Sophia, please, Mom sobbed. We're family. Family. I stood up, gathering my papers. Family doesn't steal from each other. Family doesn't dismiss someone's achievements because they're not flashy enough. And family certainly doesn't come crawling back only when they need money. As I reached the door, Dad called out, "What about Andrew? He's still your brother." I paused. He is. And as his sister, I've already done him the biggest favor possible. What favor? I've shown him that actions have consequences. I nodded to Sarah. Please show them out. And make sure they understand, any future loan applications will require my personal approval. Later that night, I sat in my penthouse office, reviewing the audit team's preliminary findings. The evidence of Andrew's deceptions was even worse than I'd imagined. My phone buzzed constantly with messages from family members. Mom, please reconsider. We can't lose the house. Dad, this isn't what family does to each other. Andrew, you've ruined everything. I hope you're happy. I deleted them all and turned back to my work. Let them sit with the knowledge that while they were dismissing my career, mocking my choices, and stealing my inheritance, I was building something they'd end up desperately needing. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just proving people wrong, it's becoming the person they have to beg for help. And sometimes the sweetest word in the English language is simply, declined.